I also assure you that we are willing to receive the positive criticism on what could have been done better with rationalization, because this was the first one in this kind of board in Uganda, and therefore definitely there were some teething problems or teething challenges. But overall, so far, it has been majorly a success. We are going to reap a number of benefits from it, and we're going to iron out what isn't right.
Olunaku olwaleero mu kibuga eky'Embale ekibiina omwegattira abavunaanyizibwa ku bakozi bayite ba Human Resource Managers ekimanyiddwa nga Uganda Public Service Human Resource Managers Network nga kino kitaba abakulira abakozi mu bitongole bya gavumenti batandise ttabiruko ab'omulundi ogw'okunoba buli mwaka okutema empenda biki ebirina okukolebwa okulaba nti balongoosa ekiwayi kino eky'abakozi ba gavumenti. Era katabiruko ono wa mulundi gwakunagenda kulugula ennaku 32 mubamu ku beetabye mu kugulawo ttabiruko ono kuli Dr. Merito Pista Wenene ng'ono yamyoka akulira akakiiko ak'emirimu gya gavumenti oba public service era ng'ono akiikiridde akulira akakiiko kano mukyala Lucy Nakyobe akubiriza abakulira abakozi okulaba nti balongoosa omulimu gwabwe gwe balina okukola okulaba nti abakozi tebalajana nnyo ku nsonga gye babakwatamu n'okwemulugunya kwe babirinako. Mu nsonga y'emu ye muwandiisi w'enkalakalira owa minisitule y'abakozi ba gavumenti Catherine Bitarakwate naye ategeeza nti nga gavumenti bakola bingi mu kulaba nti abakozi naddala aba gavumenti kosa n'abo abakola mu bitongole by'obwannannyini bakolera mu mbeera ennungi awatali kwemulugunya. Byonna nga ensinkano webadde mu kugula ttamiruko ono tugenda bikutuusako ku Musani Media.
There are clients, namely the leadership of the organization, the technical managers, the human resource, the people in the organization, our colleagues, pensioners, other organizations, and complainants. We need to be able to appreciate the nature of services that we offer to each of these categories and to be responsive to their needs. From the nature of some of the complaints that are received by the head of public service and secretary of cabinet, they raise doubts about the extent of our professionalism and our commitment to service.
I'm Dr. Mary Teopista Wenene, Deputy Head of Public Service and Deputy Secretary to Cabinet. But I am here in Mbale today to represent the head of the public service and secretary to cabinet, Mrs. Lucy Nakyobe. She's the one who assigned me to come here today. I am here to represent her to give a keynote address to the Uganda Public Service Human Resource Managers Association. The Human Resource Managers Association, the Uganda Public Sector Human Resource Managers Network, have convened here today to evaluate the progress that they have made in their association and also to identify new strategies for implementation. This is indeed the fourth time that they are convening as an association. This is to build on what is already happening. They share experiences in the various organizations that they work, and then they create networks and share knowledge especially on issues like performance management in the public service. That is one of the key issues that will be discussed during this conference. There are always challenges in every work environment, but we need to look at the challenges as opportunities. Definitely, human resource management as a function is always improving, and there are always innovations. The innovations in technology, there are changes, for example, in issues of the environment, governance, which the human resource managers also need to update themselves as a group in order to come up with common strategies for implementation as a group, but also as individuals in their own organizations.
During your presentation, you did mention
These technologies are very important for the human resource managers, mainly for the functions that they perform. For example, performance management, managing the payroll, managing the pensions payroll, leave, and other actions of human resource. The more we computerize, the more we minimize the human element in some of the decisions that we take. And this is good for the public service.
We prioritize what is in the government hierarchy of events. For example, the national budget speech will take precedence over a cadre or association meeting, because ultimately whatever we are doing is to promote service delivery. In this regard, when planning or executing duties, you must place these perspectives into context. By this, I mean that as professionals, instead of engaging in unproductive discussions and misguided analysis of why other events are taking place outside of this one, use your macro analysis lenses to guide your discussions.
I'm Catherine Bitarakwate Musimbire, Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Public Service. Today we are in Mbale for the 4th conference of the Uganda Public Service Human Resource Managers Network, which is a fraternity of human resource officers who work in government, in various institutions, both central government, local governments, public universities, hospitals, government hospitals, and other institutions. It is a forum which was brought together to really discuss about human resource management issues. It started in 2016 and has grown in leaps and bounds as a forum that engages and also connects with the African Association of Public Administrators and Managers. This is a forum that discusses professional growth of human resource managers, brings into perspective various new dimensions of excellence in how we do human resource management. And today we are here to reflect on public sector transformation. How does the human resource profession build on the public transformation agenda, which is the national, one of the pillars under the National Development Program for Uganda, which was on NDP 3 and is continuing into the National Development Plan for 4, which starts on 1st July up to 30th June 2030. Definitely there have been some challenges and maybe attitudes and code of conduct which may not be up to the expectations of the public and which is not part of the training of a human resource officer. So this kind of forum gives us an opportunity to hammer the nail home, bring back people to reflect on what they have been doing and bring them back onto the common agenda of service delivery. because the human resource officers are pivotal in service delivery in this country. They are the ones who manage performance, they are the ones who pay, they organize for capacity building, for training of civil servants, they give direction to all this stuff. As you are aware, any organization does not just operate depending on money and other resources. The human resources are core to productivity, and the human resource managers manage these human beings. And so this is a forum when we are bringing them back, polishing them up, and giving them guidance on how they should be moving, giving them a feedback on what we have done right, what isn't so good, what is new, what they should be embracing now. For example, when we talk about rationalization of government agencies and public expenditure, this is a point at which we are going to discuss with them and also hear their views, because they are receiving staff who have been in agencies, who have been earning more, who have a different culture. And we're telling them government operates as one whole. Whether someone is coming from an agency and they have their own peculiarities, you're supposed to embrace them, induct them, orient them, and bring them at par, so that as a team you achieve the agenda and the mandate of that ministry for the financial year. Disciplining, and we have been given a directive on what to include in the review of the public service standing orders to make it easier for an officer to exit the service. I'm using a polite term of exit the service. That if you fail to meet certain parameters, then you should be able to exit. The second one is strengthening the performance management system, where we have included the balanced scorecard perspectives. That key result areas which are agreed to in a performance agreement between a supervisor and a supervisee are marked and tracked, measured and achieved. Where you don't, you brought to book. And one of them, for example, where there have been complaints of delay of payment of pension, payment of salary, or failure also to discipline others or complete some of those processes. As I was mentioning, that where there have been delays in execution, now this is an area that should be measured, a key result area that should be measured, and someone brought to book. Just to give you a typical example, the performance management system and the human resource officer is supposed to be tracking what is happening. If they're in a hospital, the performance of the doctors, the nurses, the theater anesthetists, they should be seeing that all these have filled in, have had their performance agreements in place, their key result areas are clear, and then they monitor and see what has been achieved, what hasn't been achieved. The other perspectives, which we may not be aware of, is client satisfaction surveys. The human resource officer is responsible for finding out, are we doing well to our clients? Are they satisfied? And they should also be giving this feedback, collecting this feedback and sharing it with management, and then seeing what is it that we can do better. This is just an example of some of the things that we'll be sharing in this conference. And indeed, we believe government exists for all our clients. We do have internal clients, those are the public servants. Then the public servants are the ones who deliver services to the private sector. So all that I am saying is intertwined. The teacher who teaches well and the grades are up is delivering to the private sector, because you're going to have better educated students. The human resource officers who are managing public universities also have got to see that the lecturers are actually also delivering. Managing that performance framework is what is going to give you the quality of the graduates whom you're going to get. Because the dean of students, the dean of a faculty, uses that measure to see whether these lecturers actually are doing what they are doing, whether knowledge is being imparted, whether research is being imparted, and the quality is up to world standards. That is how we relate to the private sector. And that goes the same for Ministry of Trade, for all the facets of what we do as government. So government exists to promote and enable the private sector to thrive through quality service delivery.
Ambassador Herbert Chiguri, President of the Uganda Human Resource Managers Network. We are here for a 3-day conference, which is an annual event aimed at doing a reflection of how we have performed in the past year and looking at what we can do going forward. And so during this period here, the 3 days, we are reaffirming our resolve to stay professional while driving the government agenda. Our conviction is that the human resource manager is central to the success or realization of any organization's objectives. Why? We are in charge of hiring employees. We are also in charge of managing them. And at the same time, we are in charge of their exit. So if we are not properly equipped in terms of our skills, in terms of our attitudes and knowledge, then chances are high that we'll hire the wrong people or hire the right people but mismanage them and therefore lose them. Or when we exit people, we just exit and forget about them. We do it wrongly. We have had pensioners complaining, saying wrong without being paid. We are saying, are we doing it right? What progress have we made in streamlining processes for hiring, for remunerating our staff, for building their capacities, development and training, but also for how we manage their pension, our pensioners. How well have we done? So it's an opportunity to examine ourselves, but also equipping our people with the skills that are necessary for them to perform better. If you were in the room, there were issues of reaffirming the need for some of our people to become professionals, suggesting that they are human resource managers who have not measured in terms of integrity, in terms of values, in terms of having the knowledge to do a good job. So that is why we are here. So we'll clarify on the issue of teachers vis-a-vis leave. The structure of leave for teachers is different from the other cadres. Why? Unlike us, the other cadres, for them they have term breaks. They go for end of December, they go for close to 2 months at home. In between they have those 3 weeks, 1 month. So it was decided that that should be regarded as their what? As their leave. It's only the head teacher whom we can decide to say he's on leave, because for him he works all year round. So we define time to say you are on leave, the head teacher should take charge. Now on the issue of complaints of motivation in across the sector, we are trying to do our part. As means for public service, you had there's a pay policy that was developed, and the government has been implementing it incrementally. Much as you hear salaries being raised for this cadre, it is within the framework of the pay policy. However, we are trying to encourage to engage government to make sure that salaries are raised across the board. That is the one starting level for motivation, because if you can't meet the basic of your family, then you cannot talk of other areas. But we also, areas of intervention for motivation are areas of promotion, encouraging fairness. The HR are guided by the standing orders on how employees get promoted. How if someone is to supersede another who came in earlier, there should be clear justification for doing that. Of course, there are structural issues. Government has been trying to review the structures, to align them with the requirements of the time. And this is a continuous process. Every 5 years, we review our structures. And that's one of ensuring that staff get motivated. I've been here to serve, remain in the service because I've been promoted after a given period of time and to the level of a commissioner until I cross to the foreign service as an ambassador.